Hi, my name is Dan Jordan. I'm a counselor in the counseling department here at Gwynedd Mercy College. Today we're going to be talking about test anxiety, one of the many presentations we have to offer here at Gwynedd Mercy College. Today we're going to cover the basis of test anxiety. So here's what you're going to learn. We're going to learn to define anxiety and recognize it, the effects of anxiety on the mind, and the 4 components to cope effectively and have less anxiety for tests. Then you're going to learn a structured, easy method to apply to eliminate most of your test anxiety. So let's get started. What is anxiety? Anxiety is fear or worry of some perceived threat. It leads to a fight or flight response. It's the sympathetic nervous system. It's an automatic reflexive response that occurs naturally every time we feel that a threat is there. For example, if we've ever been chased by a tiger, we definitely need to fight or we need to run away. That is definitely a perceived threat. Also, anything that we have that are thoughts about what makes us anxious can lead to what's called a cascade effect. So when we have thoughts about what makes us anxious, it leads to more and more thoughts about the same stuff that makes us anxious, which makes us more and more anxious. Which also leads us to probably the most important thing with test anxiety. With anxiety comes a loss of some of that executive functioning, some of that logical thinking definitely goes down. So if you've ever taken a test and you've been anxious during the test and you've had that experience of going blank, this is why. You're anxious and your thinking definitely decreases. So it's there, the fight or flight response is there to help keep us and others safe. So for example, if we've ever been playing on the sidewalk and a child is trying to run out into the street, we don't have time to really sort of think about how far away am I, how fast do I have to go, is there anything in the way, are there any cars on the street? No, what we need to do is just react. It helps keep us and other people safe. So with that trigger, just like the child triggers that fight or flight response, you can have triggers for your anxiety for tests. Just think about what makes you anxious about that test. Could be some fear of not doing well, fear of the future. It could be the class, the instructor. Your notes aren't that good. The textbook you don't understand. The homework or other assignments aren't all that great. Or the triggers can be anxiety before we even get to the test, and it can also be the test itself. But what we have is sort of a manual override. We have a parasympathetic nervous system that we can voluntarily tap into anytime we want. It's the mechanism that helps keep us calm. So after we've gotten away from the tiger, this is the system that kicks in to help calm us down. So even though anxiety is automatic and reflexive, we do have influence over some of these automatic reflexive things. So like breathing, blinking, heart rate, those are all things that happen automatically. But I can tell you to hold your breath. I can have a staring contest with you, but I can also show you a simple way to breathe in order to decrease your heart rate. So we can have influence over these things that just happen automatically. What we need to do is just take an active role in practicing how to tap into that manual override. Remember, practice makes perfect with this. So, do we also learn this? Yes, we do. So, just like Pavlov's dog. Pavlov taught his dog to salivate every time he rang a bell. Regardless of whether there was food there or not, he paired up that sound of the bell to the dog salivating. So the same way, we kind of learn that things are kind of anxious when we take a test. You pair up that fight or flight response to taking a test. So the triggers, like we said, can be class, information, textbooks, the time you needed to prepare. All those are triggers to the fight or flight response. Now, that leads us to pair that stuff up so we learn to avoid things that make us anxious or have that threat, like we avoid tigers. And it can lead us to have panic attacks. We can lead us to blanking out, or even just having some of those negative thoughts. That cascade effect kind of happens. Now, the good news is we can unlearn all of this and definitely cope better. So, how do we do that? Well, definitely we need to tap into that parasympathetic nervous system, that manual override. How? Well, we use relaxation, we use meditation, we kind of recondition things, we kind of learn things in a little different way, and we kind of change our thoughts. So there's kind of 4 steps to this. So step 1, relax. So we do some deep breathing. We slow the heart rate, we increase the oxygen flow to everything, and it also distracts our mind. So how do we do that? All with just taking a breath. Well, you need to make sure that you take a breath and think about your out breath being twice as long. If you did that, you definitely give something to distract your mind, and if you did it for 2 minutes, I think you would slow down your heart rate and you would definitely feel a little more relaxed. So here's an example of that out breath being twice as long. Twice as long. Doesn't have to be a deep breath, just has to be twice as long out. Meditation is also kind of an equal kind of component, and it's a good thing to do. It's easy, quick, it definitely slows the system down just as much as the breathing does, and it distracts your mind from what makes you anxious. Why? Because we can only think of one thing at a time. So, meditation gives us something else to think about in a very intentional way. A simple meditation or even a prayer for 2 minutes can definitely make a difference. So, combining all of this, it takes 4 minutes, not a long time. So step 2, we can unring this bell. We can learn some different stuff, and we can learn how to pair up relaxation to the test and anything else that's a trigger to that test. So we can do that breathing technique where the out breath is twice as long as our in breath, and we can do the meditation before class, we can do it in class, we can do it after class, we can do it before each homework assignment, we can do it after each study break, or before even beginning again, before you read your textbook. And we can do it every time that you feel any kind of anxiety kind of come up. Why? Because this will help you practice those skills and start to pair up that relaxation to the information, the location, and the time. So, step 3, change your thoughts. Now, you can recondition all that cascade effect, those negative thoughts that you have about testing and about the information, through using some positive thinking. This helps to decrease those negative thoughts that drive that anxiety train, that drive that cascade effect, that pairs up some positive reactions to the material. And it's not thinking all that positive, just thinking realistically. So if you said something like, all my efforts are helping me be more successful, that would be a good thing to do. Or if you said, when I work my plan and prepare, I know the material. Or if you just said something very simple, like information is not scary. Choose something that's simple and positive and say that every day, and say it after each time you practice that relaxation and meditation technique. So, step 4, on test day. This is the strategic part of all of this. This is where it kind of comes together. So after you've done all of that, you've probably paired up relaxation to the information. And when you do it for test day, you're probably taking it in the same room. So if you've done it in class and you've done these things, and you've paired up relaxation to the entire thing. Now for test day, this is sort of game time. So you have to get up, eat, practice relaxation, practice the meditation, say your positive statement or the statements that you've had, and review everything that you've done to prepare. Now before the test, do the exercise again. This is right before the test. During the test, it's also very strategic to use that breathing technique that I said before. So, take a breath, out breath twice as long, do it before you read the question. Read the question, then do the breathing technique again. Then go ahead and answer the question. All of these things will help reduce the anxiety during the test and help keep you calm. So if you hit a question that you just don't know, or you start feeling a little bit anxious, the breathing technique will help reduce some of that anxiety. Now, after you take the test, this is also important too. Keep things in perspective. What you've done is what you've done. You can't do anything about the grade that you're about to get. And you might have done things a little bit differently. So that's good. So celebrate that effort. Celebrate what you did right. Celebrate all those things that you made on behalf of yourself to do something. Maybe it's that you didn't go blank on any of the questions. Maybe you kind of got a little bit anxious, but it was okay. Celebrate that effort. Celebrate all those things. Now remember, anxiety is normal and it's expected. You're not going to get rid of it all. Should you be anxious when you take a test? Yes. Maybe sometimes you're going to take some licensing board exams. Should you be anxious for that? Absolutely. So relax anyway. You can't change anything that's already happened. So avoid any kind of worry or second guessing of yourself. But what's good about that kind of stuff is gives you an opportunity to reassess your action plan if you need to reassess and you need to do something different. So for example, if you need to take more time to study, do so. If you need to be more organized or use your time a little bit better, do that too. There might be other things that you may need to do for preparing for that test in a little bit of a different way. So, If all that doesn't sort of work, or if it's kind of clunky and you need some extra help, please come and see us at the Counseling Center. And we can do sort of a technique and we can teach you all this right there. Or if there's other things going on that you have trouble with, we can certainly take care of those too. Just email us at counseling@gmc.edu. I'm also the Disability Support Coordinator, so if you feel that this is part of your disability, please email me, jordan.d@gmc.edu. Or if you need some help academically, the ARC is a great resource for you. They have tutors and they have other kinds of academic help there at the ARC. And you can just email them simply at thearc@gmc.edu and ask for some help. Hopefully this presentation will kind of help reduce some of that test anxiety, and hopefully we'll see you at one of our presentations in the future. Thank you.